The Oblivion Remaster has just dropped, and as someone who spent a huge part of their life for the past 5 years working on Sky Oblivion, this is a pretty incredible thing to see for all Elder Scrolls fans. As you might expect, I've become very familiar with every inch of Oblivion, so today we're going to investigate all the major differences between Oblivion and the remaster to unpack what exactly Bethesda and the team over at Virtuos have done here. Okay, so first thing we have to address is yes, this is closer to a remaster than a remake. There are many core functions and gameplay systems that have been reworked that challenge this idea though. But at its core, the world and experience you will have is Oblivion as you remember. All the assets are remade, and the lighting is far better, but they haven't redesigned locations or reorganised clutter. The Joe Inn from Bruma, for instance, has all the items positioned exactly the same way they were in Oblivion with no added clutter or detail, and that basically follows suit for the rest of the game, with the exception of some landscape which we'll get into in a bit. Having said that, the gameplay improvements that have come packaged with the remaster are extraordinarily welcomed, introducing some much needed ease of life improvements like a proper third person camera, new animations, an actual sprint button, even if it looks like this, and totally reworked UI. Oh, and some new voice acting for races that previously shared voice types with others in Oblivion, like the Argonian for example. So let's go through some of those changes and see how they've changed from Oblivion to now. Firstly, the inventory menu has been given some much needed navigation improvements, with a new top menu navigation bar to replace Oblivion's bottom menu. The obvious improvements here being that you don't have to remember which icon on this thing takes you to which menu, though once you do it a few times you pretty much get the hang of it. The ordering of the inventory tabs have been altered slightly, moving the All tab to the end of the list as opposed to the start, and hovering over any item and pressing the Show Details button will now show you a Skyrim style render of the object in place of your character, something that was only really possible in Oblivion by equipping it or viewing it in or on your character. The magic menu has had similar treatments, the All tab being moved closer to the end before the active effects, and some better detail previews are available now by hovering over each spell or scroll. The character menu is the least changed, it boasts a cleaner design, as all the menus do, but your tabs function pretty much the same. You can view your race, birth signs, class, and level, along with your max magicka, health, and fatigue stats. There's tabs for attributes and your skills, the same as Oblivion. Though the major difference now is you can preview the progress on each skill to see what mastery perks each can unlock and where you are in your journey to unlocking them, which I personally think is a much needed change and one that I've been designing in Sky Oblivion just the same, so I'm clearly on board with this change. Moving on to the map, this is by far the most useful menu upgrade of them all in my opinion. Now a full screen map without having you so zoomed in, making it hard to see past the borders of Cyrodiil's weird shape. And now it's finally easier to navigate because you can zoom out pretty far. Here you can toggle on and off different types of markers if you don't want to see certain ones, and you can toggle the details using the respective hotkey. Your local map is now accessible by zooming all the way into your map rather than being on a separate tab as it was in Oblivion. From here the quest menu has been moved out of the map into its own tab in the top bar, giving you a simple, active and completed journal that allows you to investigate each one of your quests and see all your previous and current objectives. And finally, you have your help and systems tabs, which are pretty self-explanatory, but the help tab I expect is very welcome for players experiencing Oblivion for the first time and possibly getting confused of all its RPG systems and mechanics compared to Skyrim. Good luck if they remaster Morrowind. As for the HUD, it's just more modern and clean, but functionality wise it's all still there from Oblivion. Though the compass now displays your distance away from your objective or map markers, a feature that even Skyrim didn't have. When it comes to dialogue, not much has changed apart from the more modern redesign. The Persuade minigame is still as functional and as nonsensical as it should be, and here you can see each character's disposition towards the player and bribe them if you can't be bothered to play it. And the barter menu is essentially the same as Skyrim, with Oblivion's haggle system. And finally, the level up system has gone through some significant changes, now being a more Fallout kind of inspired system, where you assign a number of points to your chosen attributes at every level up, with still a cap on 3 different attributes, as opposed to Oblivion's system, where you had to kind of min-max your skills to get the most out of the system. I might go into more detail about these kind of changes in a future video if you guys are interested, so just let me know in the comments. Now that we've covered the UI, let's see the major differences regarding the landscape. As you can tell, despite what I said at the start of the video about the positioning of objects and level of clutter being 1-to-1, the landscape doesn't exactly follow suit. Sort of. Much of the landscape now has completely new cliff assets, rather than the undetailed landscape mesh of Oblivion. Although they are new models and boast new colours, as far as I can tell the positioning of the trees, however, are still the same from Oblivion, and most medium to small rocks, though your mileage may vary as you explore the world. It's only been out for a day. There is of course new foliage, ferns, bushes and grass to make the world feel more natural and alive, and many other small details that come with the Unreal Engine upgrade that really bring Cyrodiil's wilderness to life. Though it appears like this was mostly reserved for around cities and important locations, as if you do some one-to-one comparisons with the wilderness, they do not really on the surface seem to be all that different from Oblivion, though with real grass shadows and better lighting it doesn't really need it. When it comes to mountains, however, the remaster boasts some dramatic improvements. There are now actual mountain meshes that fill out the rounded terrain landscape of Oblivion and actually make the snowy peaks look like, well, mountains. Venturing into the isolated caves and dark dungeons of Cyrodiil, you're in for pretty much the same experience as Oblivion, but this time they look nicer. The caves have the exact same layouts as the original, using the same tile sets, but the added detail and depth from the Unreal assets do make these areas feel a lot less empty. But overall, if you was a player that thought the Oblivion dungeons were pretty long and repetitive, you're likely going to have a similar experience in the remaster. As far as house and shop interiors go, as we showed before, they are the same as Oblivion. Exactly the same in fact. The lighting looks far superior obviously, and the 3D objects are of far greater quality, though the layouts and positioning of all the clutter is no different from its Oblivion counterpart. So those houses in the waterfront that have windows at the back that make no sense, they still make no sense. But it's a remaster, what do you want? Cyrodiil is a vast region situated in the heart of Tamriel, which means it's home to a diverse set of landscapes and climates. So let's see how each of these regions shape up to the original version. Nestled in the snowy Jura Mountains, the icy Bruma region, as previously mentioned, has significant upgrades, mostly coming from the new mountain meshes that border the area. The crisp mountain vistas and realistic pine trees swaying in the wind really are a step up from the original game, and there are even auroras hovering over Skyrim's borders during the night. Moving into the heart of Cyrodiil, we have the Heartlands, which is pretty much as iconic as you remember it in Oblivion. Rolling hills, green grasslands, and the occasional dotted colourful tree filling out the landscape. Ahead of the Heartlands is the Great Forest, and it has undergone one of the most dramatic changes. In the original, the woods were dense but lacked variety. Now the remaster adds diverse flora, rays shining through the canopy, and much improved weather effects that make the forest feel truly alive. Blackwood in Oblivion was not really the swamp it was described to be. It was remarkably hilly for a start, and the trees in the region didn't exactly scream bordered to Blackmarsh. The remaster retains its hilly nature, however the addition of the new looming swampy trees really do help the area feel a little more like the harrowing forest swamp it was meant to be. And the new improved foggy weathers really bring Blackwood together. From swampy roots to golden shores, the Gold Coast is now a true arid grassland of dry sands and sunlit coasts. Sun-drenched cliffs and sandy shores, the ocean now has actual depth, and in certain clear weathers you can even see islands out in the Abyssinian Sea. Inland the rocks are whiter and the grass is golder, and overall this area now really lives up to its name through its visual style. Next is the West Weald, and that retains its lush high fantasy feeling with its colourful trees, flowery fields, and has its great landmark of Skingrad sitting at its border. This region is Oblivion as you remember it. Vibrant colours, lush grasslands, and pointed towers adorning many people's favourite city. And finally is the Niben Basin and Valley, the rocky grass hinterlands that make up the right side of the map. This region borders the city of Chainhall with its weeping willows, and just like all the other regions, just further improves on its original design, making this area feel like it stands out a bit more from the other surrounding forest region. Each of these areas have distinct overhauls where necessary, and all in my opinion stay true to what they were or what they were meant to be in Oblivion. And that's going to be it for today. It's a really exciting time to be an Elder Scrolls fan, so let me know in the comments what videos you want to see from me with the Oblivion Remaster, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.